G'day, it's your local lumberjack here. Just kidding. Ron here again from the Friends Church. I just wanted to talk about something and get your feedback on something which has been bothering me a little bit, and I've been thinking about with modern church and modern theology. I have a question. Are we committing idolatry? Is happy family become so prominent in our churches that it actually has become idolatry? I know that's challenging, but I want you to think about this with me and dive into it. So the nuclear family, the idea of mum and dad and two kids, which is kind of very central to a lot of Christian churches these days, and I think the focus on that kind of family model is why we're reluctant to open our homes to people. Where Christianity back in the early days was all about community and all about bringing people in, sharing meals, doing this sort of thing. But we are very reluctant to do that. I talk to people, a lot of people out there, and one of the questions I like to ask Christians is, how many friends do you have who aren't Christians? How many non-Christian friends do you have? They're usually quite stumped by this, and when they stop and think about it, it's not many at all. One or two maybe, a couple of workmates, but I wouldn't really consider friends. But all their close friends are Christians. Now, you might think I'm waffling here a little bit, but just think about this. The nuclear family, this idea of mum, dad, and the two kids, is only fairly recent in history. It wasn't really coined and come up as this concept until 1947. Not that long ago, 1947, did we switch to this idea of mum, dad, and the two kids, the nuclear family, this idea. Before then, what happens? So this all changes when the Industrial Revolution happens. The Industrial Revolution is what seemed to change things. Before then, communities were family-based. So you'd go to a small town, and a lot of it would be one or two or three families living there. So generations, uncles and aunties and everyone, and it would be a more community-based kind of thing, and family was bigger than just mum, dad and the two kids. But with the Industrial Revolution, we had to move to cities, and to get work was a different kind of thing. Instead of the farming and growing these small towns around the place, it became about the cities and this industry, which then caused families to separate, where they had to travel for work, so they were away from their extended family much more. But this idea slipped in of the nuclear family around there. 1947 is when it was first coined again. So we grasp onto this and we hold this so tight. But back in the biblical days, family wasn't just your immediate family. Family was community. Family was a lot bigger, all the relatives and all this sort of thing. But we've changed that, and I think it's interfered and come into the church to such a degree that I'm questioning whether or not we're committing idolatry by holding up this model of family so much. Because, you read the Bible, and so often it was you and your household are saved. You and the community are saved. It didn't really become about personal salvation until quite a fair way through. And the family model which was there was very different to what we see today. But we grasp onto this family, and I think that idea is stopping us from really reaching out into the community, is stopping the church from growing to the capacity that it could potentially, by having larger families, which aren't necessarily your children, your mother, your father, but people in the community who you invite in for meals. People who are doing it tough back in those days, who were on the streets or struggling or whatever, would be picked up by that family, by that community, and helped along. But we'll give money or donate to things that we're so fearful to get our hands dirty or actually get in and make a difference. And I'm wondering if that comes from this idea of that nuclear family, the mum, dad, and the two kids, and that we've put that on this pedestal that something needs to be protected. And I guess it was the American dream, if you want to say that, to the white picket fence and the husband and wife and the two kids, which everyone was striving for. Has this influenced our church? Now, I'm not looking for a fight here, but I'm just questioning it. What are your thoughts? Do you think that this could have had some impact on the reluctancy we have to get involved with a lot of social issues as the church? We'll throw money at things, we'll say to people, that's brilliant, that's a good idea. But the individual to actually get out there and make a difference is very reluctant. I ponder this a lot. And I'm really starting to think that the movement with the Industrial Revolution and the change in what we consider to be a family, and that the church has grasped hold of that, could be part of that problem. Please, leave your thoughts. I'm curious to know what other people think about this. Ask questions, happy to respond. But yeah, once again, Ron here, Reverend Ron Hutchinson from the Fringe Church, or your happy local lumberjack today in this outfit. But we'll talk again soon.